Hey everyone, today I want to welcome Brooke Sellas to my expert interview series. Brooke is the founder and CEO of B Squared Media, an agency that helps brands connect, converse, and convert via social media. She is the author of the book, Conversations That Connect. Welcome, Brooke. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. We've been having so many great conversations through social media. So now I feel like I was about to say in real life, but now we finally get to have this virtual conversation and I'm really excited.
Oh, so am I. I've got a number of questions for you. If you're ready, we can jump right in.
I'm ready. Hit me with your best shot.
So I became aware of you through your connection with marketing futurist and best-selling author Mark Schaefer. You were on his podcast many times. Can you tell me what's your history with Mark?
Gosh, Mark and I have known each other for ever. And I want to say we met on through social media and finally met in person when I still lived in New York. So this was a long time ago, several years ago, like over 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. We started partnering on a few projects and I joined him on his podcast. And he's just a great motivator. He's just one of those people who motivates you to like keep going and keep growing and doing your thing, which is, needed in this space.
And what compelled you to write Conversations That Connect and then go around and start speaking on this?
Yeah, I think we're very early to market. So we started doing social media customer care back in 2018, which some people were earlier than us, but we're still very early to market. And my whole thing was people need to hear this story. They need to hear the stories of the brands that are mentioned in the book and the examples that we give. And they need to understand how social media is changing because I think we all know as marketers, right, and entrepreneurs that social is changing. We can all feel it, we can see it. It happens in our daily lives and using social. But I don't think enough people are talking about how it's changing in the customer care space, meaning that more and more people are actually using social media for customer care in their digital customer journey, both for acquisition, so before they've ever become a customer with your brand, and for retention, meaning they've already been a customer of your brand and now they're reaching out for support, but they're not using email or phone to do it. They're using social media.
I've recently been watching growing B2B brands invest in a combination of things like published research, book authoring, public speaking, community building, podcasting, social media engagement, newsletters. How important is this type of go to community based approach how important is that today?
I think it's so important. You have to, number one, know who your audience is. And I think we use audience broadly. And specifically for our clients, we ask them to figure out who their buying audience is, right? Who are those people within that customer journey that are in the awareness phase with you or in the consideration phase with you all the way through the rest of the journey. Once you know who your customer is, who that buying audience is, you need to meet them where they are. So no longer, do people again come to a website or come to your, it used to be, I'll give you an example. It used to be if we wanted to buy the best TV that was out there, what would we do? We would go into Best Buy and we would talk to a sales associate about the latest and greatest TVs, right? But now we have all of this information at our fingertips online. We're searching online and we're asking our peers on social media, hey, what's the best TV out there right now? I'm looking for a 4K TV that's curved and is ginormous, for a game day. What do you guys suggest? And then getting all of these answers back. And funnily enough, a lot of customers are now also going to brands and saying like, hey, Samsung, I need these things. Can you meet me where I am? And if Samsung's not responding right away, they could be losing out because they went to Samsung, they went to LG, they went to numerous brands asking this acquisition question. And the brands who are timely and valuable with their answers are actually closing those deals through social media.
Your book outlines how brands can leverage social media customer care for acquisition, as you just mentioned, and retention. And your perspective is based on research that relationships are formed from self-disclosure. Can you explain your onion theory and its relevance to social media strategy?
Yeah, so I actually did my undergraduate thesis study on the social penetration theory, also called the onion theory. The onion theory is a little more palatable as a name. Obviously, it was named by psychologists and not marketers. But essentially, what the theory says, and this was back in the 70s, by the way, they came up with this theory, but they said the way we form relationships as humans is through self-disclosure. And there's 4 levels of self-disclosure, right? There's cliches, facts, opinions, and feelings. And we really don't build a relationship. We don't move the relationship forward. We don't have trust and loyalty in stages 1 and 2, cliches and facts. Where we really start to like build that relationship with Aaron is with opinions and feelings, right? So if I ask you, like if we're at a party and I say, how are you doing? And you say fine. It's cliche, right? Because you might be having the worst day of your life. You might be 3 drinks in, but you're going to tell me fine because I'm a stranger, right? If I say, what do you do for a living? You might give me the fact back. Oh, I'm a B2B technology marketer. But we're not really aligning yet, unless I'm like, oh my God, I'm a B2B technology, right? Like we could align on facts, but where we really start to align is on those opinions. So when you say something like, maybe I ask you at the party, what do you do for fun? You will give me some opinions and feelings back. And then based on those things, we might start to align with one another. And so what my thesis did was it said, can we implement this theory through social media versus in real life? And can we do it between brand and people versus, people to people? And the answer was yes, because at the end of the day, it's humans on both sides of the equation still trying to gain trust and loyalty and build that relationship.
As you say, brands fail to connect on social media in part because they communicate in cliches and facts versus feelings and opinions, as you just laid out. But isn't sharing feelings risky for companies? And what about a B2B channel like LinkedIn? Is that an appropriate place to share feelings?
My answer is no and yes, and I'll go into detail, but it's not risky. It feels risky because we have to be vulnerable, right? So to share opinions and feelings and to ask your audience or to solicit opinions and feelings, they have to be vulnerable, you have to be vulnerable. And that feels scary, but it doesn't have to be scary. Whataburgers, one of the examples I give in the book. I'm from Texas. Whataburgers like a religion down there. It's a fast food chain. They have the best hamburgers. I really miss their hamburgers because I live in the Northeast now. But they put a post out on Twitter that says, do you pronounce our name Whataburger or Waterburger? It's Whata, like what a burger. That's how it's spelled. But when you're Southern like me, we all say Waterburger. They had thousands of people commenting on this post, right? So they were literally asking people like, how do I say our name? Like, what's your opinion on saying our name? They got all of this engagement. They engaged in the conversation. They have all of this, fun and camaraderie with people who say it wrong. Me, Waterburger, right? And that's not risky at all. If you're a pin company and you have traditionally blue and black pins, you could say to your audience like, hey, which pin should we go to market with next? Purple or pink? Whatever you choose wins. That's asking for an opinion and asking people to be vulnerable with you. But you could also say as the brand, hey, we've decided to go to market with a purple or pink pin, but we really hate pink. Tell us how you feel, right? You're sharing your opinion as the brand, but then if they come back and they're like, no, wait, we love pink. We want pink to go to market. What do you think you should go to market with? Is that pin company, pink or purple?
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't have to be risky. It just feels risky because you have to be vulnerable to get to opinions and feelings. And obviously, with vulnerability comes what we call dissolution. It means some people will move away from your brand because they don't align with you, but that's okay. Because remember, I talked about how important that buying audience was? To get rid of your audience, right? This big, huge group of people and narrow it down to your buying audience, the people who are going to most likely buy from you or continue to buy from you, you have to have dissolution.
In your book, you explain how companies can use social media channels and social media listening specifically to connect, converse, convert, and ultimately build community via conversations. Can social media truly be an effective channel for B2B conversations as it is for B2C conversations?
Yes. And to answer part of your question earlier, LinkedIn is a perfect place for opinions and feelings. If you follow like LinkedIn marketing solutions, LinkedIn ads, these are like LinkedIn specific pages, entities within LinkedIn. They do an amazing job of asking for and sharing opinions and feelings as a brand, a B2B brand who's ultimately trying to get companies to use their advertising platform, right? So, yes, you can definitely share opinions and feelings. You can definitely have these conversations. It can happen on LinkedIn. And I think it's just changing the mindset of what you're saying, right? As soon as we say you have to share opinions and feelings, it sounds woo woo, it sounds risky, it sounds hard, and it's really not. I would go look to any of those LinkedIn entities. Again, I think it's like LinkedIn Marketing Solutions, LinkedIn Ads, and there's another one, LinkedIn something. But just go check out all of the LinkedIn brands. They do an amazing job of a B2B brand using opinions and feelings, both sharing their own and asking for opinions as a brand. And they get a ton of engagement based on these posts.
And why do you think some B2B brands ignore social media as a source for acquisition, retention, and customer care?
I think it's a lack of education, which is why I was so in a hurry to get the book out when I did, and it's B2C brands too. I mean, there are plenty of brands. Again, I use lots of examples in the book of people ignoring their customers, some of them right there in the acquisition phase, where they're saying, I'm trying to check out, and my code's not working, and zero response, which is just mind blowing to me because you're literally leaving money on the table. And ultimately, right, as a business owner, that's your goal, is to continue to keep your current customers happy, but also to grow your customer base. And if you've got people coming to you trying to buy from you online and you're not meeting them where they are, it's mind-boggling to me. You're literally leaving money on the table, as I gave it the example in the book.
And when it comes to social-led customer care, since chatbots cannot truly show empathy and they have difficulty answering the more nuanced questions, how important is it for companies to assign a knowledgeable person to the front lines to interface with prospects and customers on social media?
That's a great question because that is the answer of a lot of brands, right? They're like, well, we don't have the resources or the team or the time, so we'll just put a bot in charge. And bots can be wonderful additions to your team in some cases. So, like, if you're a brand who really all of those questions that are coming in through social are frequently asked questions like, where are you located? What are your operating hours? Is your ATM, accessible 24/7? If they're those types of questions that can be answered with 100% accuracy 24/7 by a bot, then by all means, set up a bot, set up those conversational workflows, but always let people know it's a bot, number one. And number two, have an option for human contact. So, like, on the menu of options, put, I want to speak to a human, have that available. And then if the humans aren't available when that button gets clicked, you can set, time parameters. It could say something like, our humans are sleeping right now. They'll get back to you within 24 hours, but then make sure that you definitely get back to that person within 24 hours. So whatever you promise, make sure you can deliver and over deliver. So if you say 24 hours, make it 10. If you say 48 hours, make it 24, that kind of thing. And then if you don't have something easy like that, where a bot needs to convey empathy. So we see this a lot with like financial services, healthcare, right? When I'm trying to figure out if you're a network or if something's going to get covered, I am not wanting to chat with a bot, right? I want some empathy from someone. If something's really nuanced, even with some of our B2C clients who have like several product lines, and some of those products, which are tech products, are very like difficult, like a printer jam or a sewing machine needle breaks. Yes, a chatbot could take care of that, but there's so many different things that can go wrong. And some people are visual learners and some people are auditory learners, right? So a chatbot isn't necessarily right in that situation either. So I say use chatbots with a lot of discretion. At B Squared, we say teams, not tech, because we really think the humans are the most important part of social media customer care. Chatbots are kind of like a really beautiful addition to that, not the end all be all.
And so, who are those right people then to assign answering social media conversations? You talked about an acquisition moment where somebody has buying questions and there may be multiple product lines. Do you put your sales team on the front lines on social media?
No. So with our team specifically, we are the frontline sales. We're the frontline customer support. We're the frontline social media managers, community managers, asking those conversations, having those conversations, continuing those conversations. It really just depends on the resources that your company has, right? If you could have an all-in-one team like that, that's great. You could outsource to a company like ours if you don't. Or make sure that whoever is responsible for answering those questions, first and foremost, understands digital body language, has a ton of empathy, has spelling and grammar skills, right? So there's some basics there, but then make sure they have an open line to, for our team, we have an open line to sales, to marketing, to the product teams. I'll give you an example. So our big tech brand that I mentioned, we asked all of our clients as I was writing the book, like, how much of the social chatter, just out of curiosity, do you think is acquisition versus retention? Meaning, how many people are coming to your brand asking those pre-purchase questions? And how many people do you think are coming to your brand as a customer asking for support? And across the board, all of our clients said, 0 to 5% of that conversation is going to be acquisition. So we started labeling all of the conversations that came in. And what we found was that every single one of our clients had at least 20% acquisition happening on their social channels. That's a lot of people. That's 20% of people who could become new customers, right?
And one of the biggest complaints that companies have is tracking the ROI spend of their social media.
So create a little promo code for your frontline social people and say something like, "Hey Aaron, I'm so glad you asked about that your printer being Alexa compatible. Yes, our printer is Alexa compatible. Here's a little video where you can watch how that works. And Aaron, if you buy within the next 48 hours, use this promo code and we'll give you free shipping." Now you've closed that deal right there online where the customer is. You're meeting the customer there. You're hopefully answering them quickly. You're giving them that valuable information that they're asking for. Here's a video. So if they're an audio learner, they've got that. If they're a visual learner, they've got that. But then you're saying, "Hey, Aaron, and if you like what you see, go purchase it." And then that little promo code's tied to organic social. That revenue is tied to organic social, because wouldn't the C-suite start to pay attention to organic social if all of a sudden they started to see revenue dollars coming in from that?
And I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to find out your opinion about social media as an effective venue for getting product feedback and doing customer focus groups. Can you talk to social media's effectiveness there?
Yeah, I think it is the number one place to do it. In the early days of B Squared, we had a mattress company as a client, and they had traditional focus groups, and they were great, but they were so expensive and so time consuming to put on. Now you can use social media and social listening to kind of have a focus group that's always on. You can listen in and choose to participate, or just listen in and get the voice of customer data that you're looking for. And as far as getting product feedback, I mean, people are already giving it, right? The place we go to complain when we don't like something is social media. And I think as marketers, we're conditioned to just stay away from the negative, right? We're always trying to show the stakeholders the positive things that happened, and this increased and that happened. But the negative conversation is the only place where there's catalyst for change. So understanding negative feedback is a superpower. And engaging in that conversation and asking qualifying questions allows you to go back in-house. And if you truly care as a brand about retaining customers and acquiring more customers, you will go fix whatever that is. I call them potholes, right? On the path to purchase. If you knew where all your potholes were and you could smooth out every single one of them and make the path to purchase that much easier, how much of those acquisition chatter conversations do you think you would close? What's so crazy about social media customer care is it's one of the only marketing initiatives that both acquires and retains customers. There's very few other marketing initiatives that we can put our money and time into that would both help us keep customers and get new ones. And this does that. And it does it in such an easy forum, in such an easy way. But brands aren't doing it. It's so hard for me to wrap my mind around it, honestly.
This conversation has been truly valuable, and I've had a lot of fun as well. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to answer my questions today, Brooke. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for thinking conversation, because that's what I'm saying. You and I, this whole relationship started through conversations on social media. So a simple hello can lead to a million things. Try it, brands. I'm telling you, it works.